Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the James Freel Show. I'm your host, James Freel, mixing it up a little bit with that, trying to steer away a little bit from the you know the song, you know what it means. Of course, I just did it there, so I guess it doesn't really make a difference. But trying to make it to where when I go back and listen to one of these, I don't always hear the same thing over and over and wind up finding it completely indistinguishable from the previous. Anyway, as always, I still am very happy to have you with me, and I do think I have a pretty good show for you. Typically, I just say that as a go-to. This is my way of introducing it and trying to get some sort of hype going to get you to stay. But I actually do think, comparatively speaking, I have a decent show prepared. I don't have anything written out, but I had a very eventful week, and I look forward to ranting about it as I have for the past, I don't know, 20 something weeks. I think it's like 19, and this is like the 20th. Anyway, but before I get into any of that, as always, I need a cough button, something I can mute when I want to mute my mic. Um, to start, as always, we have news for the uninformed, and like I said, I don't have anything written out, but I'm just gonna rant about what I know is going on, and what I do know that's going on is that Jim Acosta, he was like banned. This is what, okay, I think News for the Uninformed should live up to its name. And by that I mean, I don't think I should really be doing any research for it. I should just rant about what I've been hearing about in the news this week. The caravan is still a thing. There's a hotly contested event going on in Florida between the senator and the governor, and news sources that I trust, which, I don't want to say I distrust a lot, but I still think that the news is still somewhat reliable. But anyway, people who I trust say that the original account is accurate. So anyway, yeah, that was really. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. That Jim Acosta, he got this motion filed, and it's a big win for him at CNN. So him versus Trump, it's a big deal. I'm gonna keep talking as I walk away from the microphone. Hopefully you can still hear me, because I'm gonna put a pillow over the vent so that you don't hear that. Hold on. They're kicked on. All right. Hear that jingle? Yeah, that's my water. All right, and in sports. Uh, by the way, I would like to point out that not a bootleg week. I know the bootleg has become a crutch, but even if I keep the show up only on a bootleg, I still think that it's worth going. It's worth listening to. From my point of view, at least. I know a lot of you wouldn't agree. Anyone who's listened to this longer than 2 seconds. But anyway, we're going to move on to sports. Last night, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Green Bay Packers. That's one of my favorite matchups. And Russell Wilson is my quarterback on my fantasy team, which I'm 5-5 right now. And I'm going up against a guy who I don't know very well, but he seems like a really swell guy. One of those guys who's, just makes you feel good being around him. And in pop culture, Stan Lee died this week. The beloved comic book writer. I always knew him as the guy who always made cameos in Spider-Man movies. But I've never been a huge comic book guy. I always felt like I always kind of faked it and said I was because it seemed like the cool thing to do. One thing I have done recently is I've been reading the old school Batman comics from the very beginning. And those originated in, I believe it was like a detective magazine or something. But it's interesting to go back and read those, especially when you take into account that they were released prior to the 1940s. It's like, it was before, the Truman administration. That's crazy to me. Truman's an interesting president because I guess his legacy is the atom bomb. I hope I have the right president going right now. Again, this is entitled News for the Uninformed. But that's about to wrap it up until next week. Moving on. Moving on. So, we're going to move on to the rambling section. It feels like I haven't done this show in a while, even though the last show went up a day late. It went up on Saturday. That was recorded on Wednesday of last week. So it's been a while since I've sat down and recorded an episode of the James Freel show. But the reason I couldn't make it is because I had a concert in Columbus, Ohio, and it was a good time. I mean, it's one of those standing room only things, and it's very important to my better half that we show up early so that we can stand extremely close to the stage. And we wound up getting to. We were as close as you could get. So right in front of the lead singer, they had a bunch of monitors, so you had to back up a little bit. We were right off to the side of the monitors. And apart from being really, really exhausted, I had a good time. I really enjoy this band. They're called Los Campesinos. I try to find the best way to say that you probably haven't heard of them without sounding like a music hipster. Because the truth is, I don't listen to a lot of hipster-like music. Most of my music is whatever cream rose to the top during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s also. But whatever's left over, and that's what a lot of people think. A lot of people think they have this really connoisseur-like taste in music when they like older music, and really I think the opposite is true, and I'm speaking of myself, because when you're trying to like the music of today, you just sort of have to trust that what you're listening to is good. When you listen to old stuff, well, the only thing anyone remembers, the only thing that the history books remember is that was good. At least I believe that's how it works. And so I don't have to sift through a lot of garbage. I can just pick what's left over. You know, the 60s, you got all the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray, and the sky is gray. Oh, I'm gonna regret putting that up. And then the 70s, you got Teenage Waste. Actually, I think that was the 60s. I looked that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Correct me. Tweet me. What are you gonna do? This is a crappy podcast. Don't listen to it. And then the 80s, punctured bicycle on a hillside desolate. Will nature make a man of me yet? All right, I'm done with that. You get to pick the cream of the crop. And so that's why I don't agree with the taste. But basically, I went to the concert. It's a group. They're pretty small. Their Facebook page has about 100,000 likes, which, it is what it is. It's not a deceptively large amount. I don't know how hard it is to get Facebook likes, but so we went there, and it's getting that to be that time of the year where it gets really dark really fast. I saw a tweet that made me chuckle. It was like, we only went 1 hour back. Why is there now 3 hours more of darkness? You think we wouldn't notice? And that definitely feels like it's the case. I wonder what would happen if we just left time the way it is. And honestly, I do know what would happen because I don't change the time in my car. So now I'm on the half of the year where my clock is off, but I really should change. I do tend to change. I've had the car since 2016, since about the spring of 2016. I gotta say, it's hanging in there. I'm proud of my car. I really hope it keeps on moving. I will say the one thing that makes me nervous is it makes this click when you hit the brake. When you hit the brake, it's only when you do a sudden brake. It almost sounds like there's some sort of beam, or I don't want to say axle, but it's like it's locked in somewhere and it gets pushed off kilter whenever there's a sudden brake. And when I do it slowly, it doesn't happen. But what makes me nervous about that is that it's still doing it. It's just not making noise. I'm trying to ask some mechanics around to see what it is. But, you win some, you lose some, you can't win them all. Anyway, the day after the concert, my better half and I, we spent the day in Columbus, Ohio. And first off, I insisted that we drive by Ohio Stadium because I just wanted to see it. I've never been to it. And I gotta say, it's kind of surrounded by a lot of buildings. It's not out in the open. And that's alright, no big deal. Um, yeah, I got to drive slowly by it. That's just something I wanted to do. And then we found a fried chicken place on Google. It was called Hot Chicken Takeover. Free advertisement. There you go on a crappy podcast. And the GPS ended up taking us to one that we didn't initially plan on going to, but we're both very glad that we wound up at the one we were at. It was in this sort of indoor farmer's market. And, I'll tweet out a photo of that chicken. And I'm going to do it as we speak right now. You know what I should have announced in pop culture? Is that Nintendo just announced that they are not doing a Nintendo 64 Classic, and my heart is broken over that. Oh, I shouldn't tweet it out now because this isn't live. This isn't live, so if I were to tweet it out now, it wouldn't make any sense. I will after the show. But the chicken was delicious. Came with these delicious pickles. The mac and cheese was amazing. I'm not a big fan of coleslaw, but the coleslaw was good also. Coleslaw is just an dish to me. I'm sure that doesn't make me original in thinking that way. Just not really my thing. If that at all makes sense. Anything else I want to say about Columbus, Ohio? I mean, overall, it was a positive trip. I'm just going to segue into the next part, which was on the past week. I had been seeing all these ads for the new video game Red Dead Redemption 2 that came out about 2-3 weeks ago, between 2 and 3 weeks ago. And all of the advertisements looked really, really appealing. And I've been a huge fan of Rockstar as a video game company. The first thing I ever played by them was GTA 4, which I thought was great. I've never beaten or finished. I've witnessed. I'll get to that in a second. GTA 4, which I love the story to it. I love the characters. They're all interesting. I can't say that like I said, I can't say that I finished it, but again, great storyline, compelling characters, very interesting. I know the ending, so I can say in the full context of the story, it's very fascinating. After that inspired me to get LA Noire, which I think is a masterpiece of a game. I personally never beat it, but I witnessed other people do it. And a spoiler alert, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to skip ahead, 15 seconds. Okay, that was your warning. I'm about to say it. So, remember the ending, Cole Phelps dies, and the funeral is there, and it's just a great story. It really is. After that, I've got Grand Theft Auto 5, which, again, I haven't even gotten very far in it, but what I've played, it's got a great story. I love the level of satire that exists in Grand Theft Auto video games. One of my favorites is the Richard Bastion show in GTA 4. I think it's like a satire of Rush Limbaugh. But then you go over to the public radio, it's like which is a satire of NPR. And, it's even-handed, I gotta say, more even-handed than other satirical news outlets, I will say. But I got Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm having a lot of fun. I never played Red Dead Redemption 1, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. The only drawback I would mention is that the game can be a bit depressing at times, only because you're left alone for so long in so many instances. You're on horseback a lot, and you're traveling through like Little House on the Prairie, so you get the sense of isolation, and it is what it is. But I chug along in it. I would give it a positive rating. In fact, it's on pause right now. And it is difficult to stay out of trouble because a lot of like Grand Theft Auto 4 set the standard that you can shoot someone, run away. As long as you evade police officers long enough, you'll be fine. Not the case in Red Dead Redemption 2. You do something wrong, even if you escape the authorities initially, you still have a bounty. And I'm kind of like have this OCD about wanting to constantly keep it paid off. And in fact, I just paid a $70. I had 65 in one township or whatever, and $5 in the other, and it just was driving me crazy. So I paid it all off. And I wonder if you could get rid of a bounty if you got arrested but you didn't have enough money. I don't know. I don't. And that's one of the interesting things about these games is there doesn't really seem to be a consequence for dying. Like if I die in the game, it just brings me back to the next checkpoint. I don't really lose any money. If there is a consequence, I've yet to come across it. So do with that information what you would will. I still would recommend it. It's a fun game. I'm having a fun time doing it. Yeah, that's that. Nothing like listening to a podcast or drink out of a water extremely close to a microphone. So, next week, it's the holiday season. Do 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 and do 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 do. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I did think maybe this episode should be the Thanksgiving episode, but I've decided not to make that the case. Building a fireproof community. That's really funny. Kanye West, what are you doing? What are you tweeting? Google that right now if you're in the future. Cough button would have served me well right there. Beta is currently listening to someone else by the 1975. I need to stop scrolling through Twitter because it does not make for a decent podcast. But to be fair, I kind of do this. I just crap out 30 minutes as quickly as I can. Anyway. So yes, next week and tomorrow, I play bass for a community choir, and I have a fun time doing it. And but tomorrow we have our first rehearsal. I don't think there's a lot we're actually playing on, which I'm okay with. I just enjoy being a part of it. It takes me back to my high school days. To me, there's nothing more Christmassy than a Christmas concert. Standing off on stage left, hearing a great choir perform. I just absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things of the holiday. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm trying to distinguish which episode's going to be the official Thanksgiving episode when in all reality, I think the only thing that's going to distinguish it is the whatever graphic I decide to add. But then again, I don't think that's true because for my holiday episodes, I think I want to talk about what I did for that holiday. Because I'm getting to the point where I have so many Thanksgivings, I think back to them. And I can't remember what year is what. I have to look back. Oh, who was playing who on that Thanksgiving? I guess I remember. Was that the 2015 or the 20? I don't think I have any memory of the 2015 Thanksgiving. Let me see. Who NFL Thanksgiving 2015. Let's see what we got here. Who was playing? It was the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. I do not remember that game. Packers meet the Bears. Panthers at Cowboys. I barely remember that. And Eagles at Lions, I really don't remember that either. Oh, this is getting sad. The fact that I can't remember that Thanksgiving at all. Tony Romo was playing. Let me see if I can find the score for that. Panthers at Cowboys 2015. Let's see what we got here. Panthers at Cowboys game summary. Well, the Cowboys got destroyed. Oh, so that was all right. I think it's kind of coming back to me. I remember this year, the Cowboys were getting beaten every year, and I kept thinking, okay, if they start winning this game and then go on a huge winning streak, they might have a comeback. I think this was the year after Dez dropped it. Which I'm saying that now. I'm fully committed to the Dez dropped it thing because he got signed by the Saints, and I think that what he said about Dak Prescott was incredibly unprofessional, even if it's true. He made a comment about, oh, it's so nice to be signed by the Saints. I can't wait to have a quarterback who can throw farther than 10 yards accurately. I'm like, dude, that's just childish. You're a locker room cancer. And, Des, I was out there defending you. I was one of the morons who was getting mocked and laughed at in the comments section on Facebook saying Des caught it, And I guess that shows that I'm not really being truly objective about the facts. I guess at the time, in retrospect, and how convenient of me to take this position, he actually did drop it according to the rules then. But the rules have changed, and if that happened today, it would have been a catch. It works out well because Jesse James then dropped that pass against the Patriots, and that was a great game. Although I need Tom Brady to hold out because I will have officially grown up when Tom Brady retires because Tom Brady was a superstar before I was into football, and he has been the entire time I've been into football. Tom Brady has been a driving force. And I used to hate Tom Brady, and now it's like, you just got to respect greatness. I think Tom Brady. I've given my rant on why I think the concept of a GOAT is stupid. Regardless, it is what it is. So, yes, tomorrow I have rehearsal for that Christmas concert. Um, there's that. Oh man, I hope I didn't do that. I'm just trying to think. Trying to think here, folks. Geez, what time am I at? What time? 22 minutes, 16 seconds. All right, okay. Maybe the show isn't as great as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, Columbus, Ohio. Red Dead Redemption 2 holiday concert. Got rehearsal tomorrow. Oh, okay. I know what I was meaning to talk about. So next week, I have it planned tentatively that I will have potentially the greatest guest on Conversations with James Freel. I say that not because he's great at conversations, although he is, but that's not why this will be the greatest episode. It is because he is a great storyteller, and I'm very much looking forward to having him on. Y'all got yourselves an episode of Conversations with James Freel that, and yes, I recognize it was messed up. When I was on the show, I announced it as the first edition of Conversations with James Freel. And yes, they were non chronological, but what are you going to do? You win some, you lose some. Can't win them all. That's one I would recommend checking out. I mean, it's different. It is different. I think the first episode is one that I'm very proud of. The conversation is pretty fun. But listen to whichever one you want. I don't care. You do you. But yeah, you're probably gonna get a new episode. I'm not gonna record it tomorrow, but hopefully a week from tomorrow, considering this doesn't fall through, which it may not. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. How many episodes do I got going now? So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 23. So 21 episodes like this. This is the 22nd like this. And, I think Conversations with James Freel kind of died down, but I'm looking forward to having a new guest on, and especially this one because I've had great conversations with him before. Listen to me. I'm overhyping it. I'm hyping it up, and there's no way it's going to be able to live up to all the hype. Y'all might tune in and listen to it, but we'll see. It was kind of funny at work today. I worked with this guy, and I actually told him about this podcast, but I wouldn't give him the name of it. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna. I told him about it because I was bored and I'm working all day, and people are bored, and I'm like, oh yeah. I also every Friday I do this podcast, and he's like, oh, where do you? I can put it on YouTube. It's fun. It it's a hobby, and he was like, oh, what's the name of it? And the funny thing is Well, I'm sitting there all day. I'm just like, talking, like rambling the way I do now. And as soon as he found out that I run a podcast, he's trying to get me to tell him what it is. And I'm like, you think it's going to be like this fun and interesting thing, but in reality, you're going to hear it and it's going to be exactly what you hear all day at work with me rambling. It's going to be me talking about random crap that kind of makes you cringe, kind of makes you, I hope you can't hear my neighbor, kind of makes you uncomfortable. Um, you might listen to 2 or 3 minutes of it and be like, all right, I'm done with this. This is not what I thought it would be. Um, but it's something, I think I've said it 4 times now. I think it's something fun that I do, and I hope to be doing it for years and years to come. I don't know when it's ever going to end. And I've thought about it before in the future when this show will end, and I hope it never does. I hope I'm doing it on my deathbed. I don't know about that. I may, if I do retire, it will be an extravaganza. If I ever stop it, I will make sure to have lots of guests. I will make, you know what I will do? I will try to get as many guests to call in as possible. And that'll be the funny thing. It's like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I do remember you doing that. You're still doing that? Yeah, I'm David. David, yeah, Mark. I'm actually retiring it. Could you please give your 2 cents on it? Because this show will be over. I can't say that I've never done it on a. I can't say a Friday hasn't gone by without me doing it because that just simply isn't true. When convenient, I've done it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't think I've ever done it on a Saturday. I've uploaded it Saturday. I don't know if I've actually done it on a Saturday, but tomorrow I've got that rehearsal that I'm very much looking forward to. Oh, the air just came back on. Um, I look forward to having a guest on here that's someone with whom I've never met. Like as of now, I don't even know this person exists. Maybe they know I exist. Maybe you're listening now and you want to be a guest on the show. You can Skype me. I'll have you on via that. Who cares? Who cares? But I do very much look forward to having this next guest for the 5th time, people. I'm in the business of overhyping a show. Now, in all honesty, I'm just very excited to have this person on. They're a lot of fun. They will know, and I'm probably gonna make mention of it. Like, yeah, I overhyped it on my last episode, so here he is. No pressure, no pressure, sir. I don't know if he's gonna be wanting to use his real name or not. So I just have to play it safe. Play it safe right now. Today something happened at work, and I think in the end I wound up handling it well. But yeah, I got some great people at work who work with me. Some people are very good to me. People who understand me, or not necessarily understand me, but are patient with me, who understand my, yeah, they do understand me. They understand my personality. They know what I want to hear, but they also know what I need to hear, and they let me figure things out for myself. Yeah, I don't want to go into detail of it, but remember Rob, Sean, James, Hillrom, safety check. You may be able to connect those dots. That's for you, James. That's not for anyone listening. Misunderstood. Can I get this tested? Oh, you just need it safety tested, working on surgical machine. Yeah, I think there are enough clues there for you to listen to, because at this point, I would be shocked if anyone actually listened to this part other than me. So yeah, reminisce on that cringy moment. So, my Cincinnati Bengals have the Baltimore Ravens this week. It is win or go home. If they can't win this game tomorrow, I'm giving up on their playoff hopes. I mean, I won't be, but it definitely takes them out of contention. It takes them out of the playoff conversation. So let's go Bengals. Hooday. Have a good weekend, everybody, and I will see you next week. Keep an eye out for Conversation with James Freel, and take care.